He's, as he was introduced, the formator for our seminarians with the Schoenstatt Fathers. And I think it's a very good opportunity to pray for vocations. You know, as we need holy couples, as you all, we also need priests that can serve our Schoenstatt family, can serve our church, can celebrate the sacraments for us. So Father Enrique does a very important job and a very important mission with our Schoenstatt seminarians. Especially now that we are sending five of them, 5 postulants from here, from Austin, are going to be going in March for the beginning of their novitiate. So please keep them in your prayers too, so they can persevere in their vocation. And today, as Luis and Kathy were sharing, as Andy was introducing also, we are here to strengthen and deepen in our married life together. And that introduction of Luis and Kathy was very good because they shared about, you know, their holidays, their life, they're coming back home, they're having those 2 extra days in Miami, you know, with their girls, trying to get back to Texas. But in all that, those busy days, how they missed also the time for you know, couples dialogue, for being together, just the 2 of them. And that's why we are here. We're here to come closer to each other, but spiritually. Not only to come closer to each other for the things that we do every day, you know, the things that we gotta resolve, take care of our household, take care of our bills, take care of school, take care of our children, but to take care of our spiritual life together, to nourish the mystery of the sacrament of the matrimony that we received as a gift from God, and that we want to foster and develop in the future. And this gift has to be balanced. And I think that's why it was so good to hear about the Vargas' vacations, holidays, because we need to balance the things that we have to do. We have to go and visit family. We have to celebrate Christmas. We have to celebrate New Year's. We have to go and see how our mom and dad are doing. We have to, you know, take our children places. We have to do it because we are families, because we are people that will live in this world. We have to go to work, we have to pay taxes, we have to take care of our car. You know, we have to do the things that every person does, believer or non-believer. But we have an extra mission, an extra task, and that is taking care of our inner life. What is the difference with us? We have become aware by our baptism and the sacrament of matrimony that we have a soul that is immortal. And that soul that is immortal has been engaged through this sacrament with another soul that is my spouse's. And these 2 souls become one, as the Holy Bible, as the Holy Scripture tells us. How do we nourish that reality of becoming one, of being one together? Well, the founder of Schoenstatt, Father Joseph Kentenich, he founded the movement 100 years ago. He passed away in 1968 after a very fruitful and long life. But one of the main things for him, beginning this movement of lay people, if you think that all the movements in the church, you know, the movements of renewal for families, they all began after Vatican II in the 60s. Schoenstatt began in 1914 with a very new structure. That was a structure where lay people came together and strengthened their leadership in the church. We need to strengthen the reality that we are leaders in the church. But what is the spiritual newness that Father Kentenich brought through, especially the presence of our Blessed Mother Mary? Realizing that holiness is not just a set of good actions. Holiness is not just good behavior. Holiness is not just doing the right thing. But holiness is the balance in the different aspects of my life. That's why holiness is so hard. Because if holiness was just, you know, some box checking of good deeds, well, I could try to do them. You know, try very hard with all my willpower, try to check out each one of those boxes and try to be holy. But it's not about good deeds. It's not about good actions. But it's about how can I balance the different aspects of our life. Father Kentenich gave a good way to understand those different aspects, that we can always look at them with the cross. We're going to put this just a little bit to see the unity cross, the Schoenstatt cross. The cross always have 4 ends, upwards, down, and to the sides. And Father Kettering talked about these 4 aspects or relationships in our life. First, towards God. My supernatural world, the world of the sacraments, the world of Holy Communion, confession, the world of my inner life, my relationship to God, my prayer life, our prayer life together. Down to myself, my own life, my personal life, my self-esteem, how good care I take of my health, my sleeping, the time I dedicate to me, to myself. Then to one side, the people in my life. From the most significant people, my family, to the more, to the more superficial relationships that we have in the work or people that we meet socially. And to the other side, the world and our commitments, our duties, our obligations, the things that we have to do because we live in this world. So these 4 aspects that, by the way, are a very good way to think about our examination for confession, to see how we're doing in those 4 aspects, are also a way to think about my holiness. So holiness is not just saying, am I doing a lot of praying? Because you can pray a lot, your relationship to God. But you also have to take care of your family. You're a father, you're a mother, you need to take care of your household. You cannot be just praying. Well, let's take care of the household then. Let's take care of our family. Let's do the best we can to provide for them the best. Well, but you also have, a world of obligations. You also have a world of your inner personality. So Schoenstatt helps us understand this reality of holiness as a balance. How do I balance these 4 aspects of my life? And holiness is when I get to that point where I feel that all of them are in connection. That's why the Blessed Mother Mary is so important for us, because she lived those aspects of her life in an everyday connection. For the Blessed Mother Mary, her relationship to her Son Jesus Christ wasn't reading a book or studying a lot about her or doing a doctorate in Christology or going to the Jerusalem University, to learn about her Son Jesus. She lived with him. And he was cooking, and he was, living with him, taking care of him, helping him in his life. And that's the way she wants to help us to grow in our holiness. Because holiness happens when we go to church, but holiness especially happens when we're at home. The church is meant for us to pray. We have candles, we have stained glasses, we have a poor priest trying to deliver the best homily he can. It's all meant for you to pray. So it's kind of easier to be holy in the church. And we hold hands and we give the peace to each other, the sign of peace. But what happens when we go back home? What happens when we go back to work? Well, that's when holiness is tested. And that's when holiness becomes a real challenge. But this balance is also a balance in my own personal life. If I need to balance my life with you as a couple, as a married couple, we have to recognize that we bring to this balance 2 different temperaments, and a temperament that I have to be aware of. We are balanced because we were called to live together, and we have to find that balance because God thought in this balance a mission, a unique mission for this world. So when we find this balance between your temperament and my temperament, between you being a woman and me being a man, between being husband and spouse, we discover our mission in common. When we're able to discover that our temperaments shouldn't be in competition, but should be in complementation. Because God thought us together not only to be holy because of patience, because of tolerance, but especially to be holy because of complementation. To learn how to bring our lives together and balance them in this temperament we have, in this personality we have, in the uniqueness that God gave each one of us. So we balance our life as holiness, we balance our life as a couple, but we also have to balance our activities. We have to balance the time we dedicate to work, the time we dedicate to social life, and the time we dedicate to strong quality time as a family and as a couple. They are all needed. They are all needed, but we have to find the balance. And how can we find it? Realizing if the activities that we are doing are helping us to connect with God and to connect with one another. Why do we go to work? We go to work because we want to have a life and things in our life, a house, a car, time together, resources. But why do we want to have resources? Because we want to use them in our family life together. We want to use them in discovering this mission that God has for each one of us. We want to use them in discovering the deepness of our relationship together, not the other way around. We're not together to work. We're not together to get resources. We're not together here for material things. Those material things have to help our life together. And that's another balance that is hard to find because they become so important. The car you drive, the clothes you wear, the place you go on holidays or vacation, it has become so important. So many families, hopefully not us, have changed the order of things. And they move their family around, their family life around the things they need to purchase or acquire. We want to live exactly in the opposite way, in God's way, in the Blessed Mother's way, realizing that material things are just an asset, are just an instrument for us to become better and deeper children of God. The other thing we have to balance that is not always easy is the balance between the joyful and the sorrowful mysteries. The joyful mysteries are great. When our kids graduate, when we have a wonderful year, when we go to Easter Mass, when we go to Christmas Mass, they're all joyful mysteries. When we really get along, when we have a wonderful conversation, when we have a nice dinner with a nice glass of wine, and we love each other. That's beautiful. But that's not all in life. There's also sorrowful mysteries. And the sorrowful mysteries are also part of the same process of sanctification that God has for you. So we cannot just pick one of them. We cannot just pick the joyful, the glorious, the mysteries of light. We also have to discover that in the sorrowful mysteries is hidden our sanctification. So let us not just try to bypass God, bypass the crosses, bypass the sorrowful mysteries, but let us try to discover with the same passion that in the joyful mysteries, let us try to discover God's love and God's plan in those sorrowful mysteries that touch the life of each one of us. And finally, we have to balance our life at home and our life in the tabernacle. Because from the tabernacle flows the only balance that we will ever know. From the tabernacle, from Jesus Christ himself, from the Blessed Sacrament, from Holy Communion, from Jesus and his sacraments, flow the only balance that we will ever know. Because if we try to control life, if we try to set the balance, if we try to say how things are going to work, we're usually and probably going to fail. Because we are limited. We don't have enough faith or enough strength to balance our life. So let us always balance time at home and time at the tabernacle. Because from Jesus Christ himself is where the balance flows, and that's where we find this peace that we are looking for. That's a little bit the topic for today, the balance of our life. Now we will have this time for a dialogue as a couple. There are some questions suggested that have to do with the topic that we shared today. But also remember, it's an important time for us to share where I am spiritually. Where am I spiritually in my spiritual life? Remember, spiritual discussion, spiritual conversation is not a time to tell you where you should be. It's a time for me to tell you where I am. It's a free sharing of our spiritual life. So we hope that you have a great time together as a couple, and we will call you